Qualcomm CEO just told investors something on their earnings call. Apple's business is leaving fast. The iPhone 18 Pro might be the first Pro iPhone to run entirely on Apple's own cellular chip. And that one change pulls on almost everything else about this phone. There's a specific number I want to get to by the end of this, not a spec, a price. And when you hear it, it's going to reframe everything I'm about to tell you. Let's get into it. The iPhone 18 Pro and Pro Max land in September 2026. No standard iPhone 18 until spring 2027. So if you're upgrading this fall, Pro is your only option. I've gone through every credible supply chain report, the Qualcomm earnings call, Tata leak data, and analyst research to build the clearest picture possible right now. We're covering the modem story, the A20 chip, a genuinely new camera system, and the price, which is the part nobody wants to say out loud. There's a payoff buried in the modem section that I think changes the whole value argument. We'll get there. Let's start here because it's the most important story. Apple has been building toward this for years. The C1 shipped quietly, the C1X followed, and now the C2 is coming. And it might finally be the chip that makes Qualcomm irrelevant inside the iPhone. Here's the concrete signal. Qualcomm's CEO on their latest earnings call said revenue from Apple will decline more quickly starting Q4. Their share of components in the next iPhone launch well below 20%, well below. That's not a spec rumor. That's a public company warning investors, in plain language, that Apple is done. Now, what does the C2 actually bring? First, millimeter wave 5G support. This is the piece Apple's prior chips were missing in the US, and if C2 includes it, the last reason to keep Qualcomm in American iPhones disappears. Second, limit precise location. Your carrier sees your neighborhood, not your address. That's a privacy shift that runs at the chip level, not just a software toggle. Third, and this is the one, full 5G satellite internet access, not emergency SOS, actual internet connectivity over satellite. When your carrier drops, the phone keeps going. Apple is reportedly planning to open satellite access to third-party apps. Maps works, Photo Sync, your group chat delivers if that ships in the iPhone 18 Pro. That's not a feature, that's a category change. One caveat worth naming. Some leaked data suggested the US might get a Qualcomm modem while international markets get C2. But Qualcomm's own earnings call makes that harder to believe. We'll know for certain in September. 2 nanometers, the A20 is built on TSMC's 2 nanometer process, the first smartphone chip at this node. For context, the iPhone 17 Pro runs 3 nanometer and already embarrasses most Android flagships on performance benchmarks. The jump to 2 nanometers means more transistors per square millimeter, lower heat output, and meaningfully better efficiency. Early estimates say up to 15% faster and 30% more power efficient than the A19. But here's the detail that matters more than the raw numbers. Apple is packaging the A20 using wafer-level multi-chip module technology, WMCM. The RAM is integrated directly onto the same wafer as the CPU, GPU, and neural engine, not adjacent. On the same piece of silicon, the result: faster Apple Intelligence processing and better battery life because data doesn't have to travel as far between components. The catch: TSMC charges at least 50% more to manufacture 2 nanometer chips than 3 nanometer. That cost goes somewhere. And I already told you where. Okay, the camera, the main lens on the iPhone 18 Pro is getting variable aperture. First time in iPhone history. Variable aperture means you control how much light reaches the sensor manually. You can cut overexposure in bright conditions, separate subjects from backgrounds more aggressively, shape the look of an image, not just filter it afterward. It's the kind of control professional photographers recognize immediately, and everyone else will just notice their photos started looking different in a way they can't quite explain. Beyond that, both the main and telephoto lenses are getting larger apertures overall, more light in dark conditions, less noise, faster shutter speeds. Samsung is reportedly supplying a new 3-layer stacked image sensor for at least one of the models. More responsive, better dynamic range, lower noise floor. Apple is also testing a teleconverter system to extend zoom reach, though how that works on a phone is still unclear. On paper, the iPhone 18 Pro camera is the biggest generational leap in 3, maybe 4 years. Design-wise, no reinvention. Same general form factor as the 17 Pro. 6.3-inch Pro, 6.9-inch Pro Max. But the new color is worth mentioning. Dark cherry, not red, not product red, a deep purple tinted cherry that photographs completely differently depending on light conditions. It's the kind of color that looks almost black in shadow and deep burgundy in sunlight. That's the headline colorway for fall 2026. The dynamic island is getting smaller, reportedly 35% narrower, dropping from around 20.7 millimeters to approximately 13.5 millimeters wide. Under display Face ID was rumored. It's not happening this year, but a noticeably smaller dynamic island still cleans up the top of the display. The display panel is upgrading to LTPO+, which is more power efficient than the current LTPO. The phone will be slightly thicker, around 9 millimeters, and heavier, around 240 grams. The reason for both is actually good news. Larger battery, new vapor chamber cooling system for better thermal management. More heat headroom means the A20 can actually run at full speed longer without throttling. Battery numbers: iPhone 18 Pro in the US, 4,288 milliamp hours. iPhone 18 Pro Max in the US, 5,567 milliamp hours. The 17 Pro Max shipped with 5,088 milliamp hours. That's nearly 500 milliamp hours more on the Max alone. Combine that with a 20 efficiency improvements, and this is realistically the first iPhone Pro where battery anxiety becomes a non-issue. Now, the price: the iPhone 17 Pro started at $999. The iPhone 18 Pro is expected to start somewhere between $1,199 and $1,399. IDC says up to $200 more. The Wall Street Journal floated $1,399 as a starting price. Some analysts are calling $300 more on higher configurations. Apple's RAM costs have reportedly more than tripled. 2-nanometer manufacturing is at least 50% more expensive per chip, and Apple does not absorb those costs quietly. That's the number I told you we'd get to. It's not a rumor anymore. It's where every data point is pointing, and it's the thing that makes this upgrade decision more complicated than any iPhone launch in recent memory. Here's where I land. The iPhone 18 Pro is the most substantively upgraded Pro model in years. The C2 modem story is real, and if satellite internet ships as described, it's genuinely new capability. The A20 chip will be the fastest silicon in any smartphone when it releases. Variable aperture is a real camera advancement, not a marketing refresh. Battery life will be the best it's ever been on a Pro model, but if you're on an iPhone 16 Pro, think hard before paying what Apple is about to charge for this. If you're on a 15 Pro or older, this is the upgrade. And if you're specifically interested in the C2 modem for the US, wait for the official confirmation before committing, because if American units ship with Qualcomm while international units get C2, that changes the value equation meaningfully. The iPhone 18 Pro is genuinely impressive, whether it's worth $1,300 to $1,400 or more. That's the question Apple still has to answer when September comes. I'm curious where you land on this. Would you pay that price for this phone? Let me know in the comments.